Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the UKLC. I'm McScoundrel taking over for Ezreal, and I'm joined here by Orcs on the left. We are ready to jump into our next game, which will be...
Phelan against MnM.
There you go. This is actually going to be a really close game. A lot of people on paper may be putting this towards MnM's favour just based off predictions and initial analyst sort of reactions coming into the league.
But you've got to bear in mind, Phelan went up against XL in the first round, and as you may remember, they were the overall winners. So not a great start, but they still showed life. I think Aragon was the big standout for me. Solo killed Sendo, also solo killed Exile straight from the LEC. So that's impressive. And the thing is, he was my biggest concern with this roster because he was a rookie, fairly unexperienced, hadn't been tested on a big roster like this, and he really performed. And that gives me hope for the team as a whole, because if he's playing well, I think the rest of the team will play well around him. And
I think actually, given the games that we saw with XL last week, Phelan actually tested them more than we probably thought that XL should have been tested. There was a couple of bits in the early game where it looked like Phelan were kind of keeping things on level.
I mean, that's the thing, is that for a lot of teams, it felt like XL made big plays, and that's how they got in the game, but Phelan were making big plays as well. I mean, and the fact that Aragon just popped off so much was a big surprise to me, but the rest of the team still made their presence known.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Aragon from Phelan, as you know, you sort of got high hopes for him. He's potentially going to be the guy to keep an eye on in this game. What about MnM? Because whenever I think about MnM, it's always, for me, it's like nondescript, not many crazy personalities, but I feel like this season they've got some more sort of, oh, whoa, we're tunneling. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we've got some more sort of individual personalities in MnM this time.
I think their top side of the map, Chibs did really well. He's a complete rookie, had a solo queue, and yet he had a great performance on the Sandra. I think Nolty's solid. I think Mummis is solid. My only concern is Monk, because I think last week he really didn't look good. And Monk is someone who, there's a lot of praise about him. A lot of people say, you know, Monk will carry. He's a high skill AD carry, always in the upper echelons of solo queue. But last week he looked really bad. I mean, that game against Fnatic where he just randomly died in the tower was completely dire.
Let's take a look at Phelan's roster. We've already talked about Aragon, but we're going to cover some of the other members, as it's not the Aragon show here on the UKLC, unfortunately. So we're going to take a quick look at their roster, and we'll talk about their individual players. You can see, I'm going to move out the way. We've got Sof, ADM, Achu, and Snuggly. Snuggly, a player that a lot of people in the UK scene will know as well. You yourself are sort of good friends with Snuggly. Anyone else in sort of outside of Aragon stand out for you here?
Well, I think ADM has been quite solid. I think he's sort of an underrated mid laner. I think, particularly when people are doing tier rankings, they put him on the upper ends, despite maybe not ranking Phelan as one of the highest teams. So I think he's one to look at, especially if he gets some of his power picks, because if he's on Vel'Koz or Aurelion Sol, which aren't really in the meta, but with things like Akali off the table, could come back in, he is very good on them. And he has a wide champion pool, and I think he can put out a good performance if given the opportunity. Now
let's take a look at MnM. Like I said, they've revamped their entire roster. They have got some personalities on there as well, with Monk being one of those standout personalities, like you said. Let's talk about the rest of the team, though, especially looking towards that Chibs-ADM matchup, because Chibs really did actually impress me last week.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that Chibs has impressed so far, but he's played a very small amount of competitive. And we saw in that game with Barrage, who even with experienced players on their roster, managed to choke a bit on that Baron. And that's the question, because if Chibs is tested, and I think ADM could be the one to test him, will he end up choking? And that could be the fall through, because under normal circumstances, I would say it's fine. You've got Monk. Monk will carry. But after last week, I'm not so sure he will.
I don't know, maybe Monk's going to steady the ship a little bit. I remember, you know, we haven't seen much of him within the UK scene, and although UK scene has been like a bit of a meme in players' eyes for a while, we've actually got a really good level of competition this season. And so now you've got to work pretty hard to get your wins here. And Monk, I think's got the individual skill to be able to do that. I think he just needs to find the right mindset for it.
Yeah, and the thing is, he is confident. I mean, I spoke to him before the split, and he said he wants to take down these academy teams. He wants to go to EU Masters. And he doesn't want, because a lot of people came in with a thought, oh, well, XL, Fnatic will be on top. He does not want that to be set in stone. He definitely wants to challenge them. But the week one performance was just a big shape-up. And I hope that has given him the drive to sort things out for this week. And he comes in this game against Phelan just a completely new player.
If I was to push you in terms of percentage, who will take the win, like 60-40, 70-30, where would you be ranking the MnM Phelan matchup, just from what you've seen and also maybe some previous predictions coming into the split?
Probably 65 MnM, 35 Phelan. I'd like to say closer, but if Monk plays like he did last week, he'll definitely be closer, but I can't guarantee that. The rest of the roster looks solid, so I think 65-35.
It's an interesting question about Monk as well. I mean, we've talked about him a little bit, quite a lot so far already. This is now on 9.3. We have had those AD carry changes coming through. So this is a situation where if you're a good AD carry player, especially a good late game scaling AD carry player.
He was playing Sivir before, and Sivir is now great. She has a top tier pick, so it wouldn't surprise me if he just picks it up again. And you're now in a much better position. If he gets his head sorted and doesn't make mistakes like he did last time, they could definitely just play around him and he will carry.
Exactly. We are into Champion Select between MnM and Phelan Gaming. Initial bans coming through for Phelan is Jax. What do you make of that one there?
Bit interesting. The only thing that pops into my mind is it's good against Yorick. So maybe they're hoping for a Yorick
first pick.
But that seems really weird. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't.
Do you think Yorick's first pick worthy if you don't see something like a Sion sort of first, or?
I wouldn't personally first pick Yorick because it's like more of a split pusher. I don't know. Maybe it's something that
he's not a team fight champion.
I mean, the fact that they're banning the Jax, they're banning the Aurelia, these are great split pushers.
Yeah.
So maybe the concern is that Mummis is going to play a split pusher top and win off that, and Phelan don't want that to happen. So they're banning them away, and then they could go with something safe top lane like the Sion itself, because obviously Urgot off the table. Well,
this is it. We are seeing a lot of top lane focused bans coming through here. I wonder if we're just going to have a complete clown fiesta in the top lane because everything gets banned away and we end up with, you know, Fiora. Thresh comes through.
Fiora Teemo, that'd be great.
Fiora Teemo, I like your thinking. We have got the Teemo hats lying around the studio. Thresh comes through. That's a ban that it strikes me as maybe targeted towards Snuggly potentially. It's something that also we've seen a lot of players do well with in UKLC.
Interesting though, because one of the best matchups for Thresh is into a Karma because it's very easy to kill her.
This looks so stupid with my headphones.
Yeah, not the best look. But Thresh does great into Karma, and both of these supports played Karma last week, which is a bit of a weird one because he's not sort of super in the meta at the moment, but both of them wanted to play it. So this ban away from Shogun not only suggests that he wants to take off Snuggly, but he might want to go back into that Karma style of play again and look to dominate lane and then facilitate his AD carry late. Because Karma Sivir it's so strong late game. You have so much speed. Definitely zoomy.
Interesting, you see the Aurelion Soulband come through versus ADM, like you mentioned, a meta that might suit it, and bam, Eragon throws down the gauntlet, the prediction come through, it is that Yorick first pick.
I mean, that's why they banned the Jax, because they're going to first pick Yorick, so they've definitely got some split push components. I think Silent isn't the greatest, because once you're in that cage, you're kind of stuck.
I mean, Silent's a good matchup for Yorick. I mean, you picking Silent in this situation, you're just basically saying, I want to lose lane.
That's what I mean, and then you just put the cage around him, it's like you can't even ult out. So
because it takes so long for him to hit the mills as well.
It's going to be interesting to see what Mummus plays into this, but it does give over the Lucian to Monk, because under normal circumstances, we've constantly seen Cassiopeia Lucian banned on this red side. This is the first time in a while we've seen it left open, so Lucian picked up very quickly, and the Jace wasn't completely sold in that last game. It did have some good impact.
Could be top though. It could be top.
It could. Yeah. Here's the interesting thing: you can play jungle too. Has been played jungle a couple of times in career, so it works really well as a flex, and that's why they're willing to pick it this early. Where will it go?
Exactly. It's a complete guess as to where it will go. Whether Nolty's been playing that in the jungle.
Somewhere.
It will go somewhere.
I can confirm that.
Okay, we'll see what rounds out here with Phelan. They go up with the Lissandra, which actually gives them a really safe mid laner as well in a lot of scenarios. It's great team fight engage, great lockdown potential.
And decent wave clear, which I think is good against when you're playing with a split pusher.
You go 1-3-1 as well.
Yeah, and you can't dive a Lissandra. You know, if you try, unless you're miles ahead, it's going to be a difficult situation. She'll CC you, she'll ult herself. So I think this is a very good defensive composition to facilitate the Yorick in his split push advantage.
You could go 1-4, you could go 1-3-1 if you wanted to. You've got options there, which is interesting. Well, and so you very rarely see your top and mid picked in early rotation here, but it looks like Phelan absolutely wanted to guarantee themselves these picks that maybe are looking to play around that Yorick split push. I mean, what do you think the rest of the team shapes up to be here if you're Phelan?
I think wave clear is definitely a big thing. And
so Sivir gets picked or banned?
Yeah, and then I think something with early pressure. I do like LeBlanc pick, offers a lot of power for Chibs, and you know, we said this is a solo queue star. He wants to bring something with confidence into ADM. I do think about it, they'll probably send the Jace top, as that does well into Yorick, because you get the improved attack speed on the W, you can clear out the cage very quickly. Also, the range is fine into a split pusher. But it does mean that MnM have quite a weak frontline so far, and I don't think you want to take a jungler who's like, you know, a Sejuani. You want early pressure as well, because you don't want to give over the early game.
I think you've got to ban Sivir here. You ban Ezreal, you've got to ban Sivir, because Sivir is like free wave clear. You know, if you're looking for wave clear to facilitate your 1 and 4, I know you've got Lissandra, but Sivir just adds that extra element, and you could even 1-3-1 very effectively with Sivir as the game goes on, because she just ricochets that whole wave.
Yeah, I think as well as it proves a problem for both Jace and LeBlanc, because the Shock Blast, you can spell shield it. The LeBlanc, when she goes in for a combo, you can block part of it. They don't decide to ban it. I would like to see Phelan picking up. I don't think the lane matchup's the best.
No, that's
the Lucian.
That's the question, yeah.
But I think you're not necessarily picking to play for the bot lane. Although at this point, you know, the matchup mid isn't the greatest.
You have got the Braum though, and Braum is a really good defensive bot laner that, you know, if an engage goes heavily towards you, you've always got that Unbreakable that's going to block loads of basic attacks.
We'll see the Karthus ban actually come out. So they're afraid of a sort of poke comp that we saw come out earlier, and understandably, because Barrage were very close to winning that game. But for now, we will just see MnM coming into the next one. I want to see them take the jungler, because I'd like to see what the enemy support is first. Actually, no, you could take this. You kind of mix for choice. Do you want to devote more to the bot lane, or do you want to take a safe buying jungler?
I think you need to take bot lane here, because you've committed to the Lucian now.
I really don't like the Morgana pick here. That is what I'm going to say. I mean, I guess they had to take it blind, but I think the problem with the Morgana pick is you basically don't do very much at all in lane. You have very little pressure. And now, in a situation where I thought maybe Achu's going to be in trouble, he can pick whatever he wants. There is no point. You could pick the Sivir here.
Do you still think Sivir's a good pick
I
here?
think Sivir would be the best pick here, in my opinion. Caitlyn's okay. It has a good matchup into Lucian, so you can play for that. But for now, they're just going to take the Jins out, which we saw earlier be a good blind pick to pick in the jungle. Offers that early pressure. And that's a key thing for Phelan, is that you have this Yorick who's going to be great at split pushing. You have quite a good composition to play around that. You want early pressure.
Yeah, for sure. And also, you know, in that situation where you do commit to 1-3-1, or you do commit to a situation where you've got to defend, Yorick is a really good, Xin Zhao's a great defensive jungle pick, because you always have that ultimate just to zone the enemy away if they try and go for a dive. And that is the Sivir locked in, just like we said, was probably the AD carry that made the most sense for the composition. Absolutely. And I like what Phelan have brought here.
I like it. I mean, I understand the decision making from MnM. The only one I'm concerned about is the Morgana. I don't like that pick here.
What would you have liked instead?
Something more aggressive. I mean, Thresh is off the table, Alice is off the table. He's sort of running low on support.
Is Pyke unplayable right now?
He's not the greatest, especially in a comp like that. You potentially have taken something like really aggressive. Like, if you ban the Sivir and pick like a Blitzcrank, that could actually be a big threat.
Yeah.
I mean, Blitzcrank's a bit out there, but people will still play it. You could have... I feel like the Morgana is saying... Like with a Lucian, you want something aggressive to force engages. With a Morgana, all you do is fire a binding.
Alistair could have worked. Banned. Yeah, no, it's a good ban by Phelan.
I mean, maybe the decision would have been better to go for a support pick in the early rotation and secure that strong bot lane. Because right now, I mean, if you look at a trade bot, okay, if Monk goes in, they'll just block it with Unbreakable. If Morgana fires a binding, they'll spell shield it. There's no real option for them to be aggressive, and the Sivir is just going to outscale.
So let's take a very quick stock of these win conditions. You've touched on them already, but let's very quickly run down what Phelan have got to do here.
I mean, Phelan they have a strong early game. They have a strong late game with that Sivir. They need to facilitate the Yorick in the side lane. I mean, that's the crucial thing why they made those top lane bans. Make him strong, let him split push, and then when you get to the point where the Sivir is just too strong to deal with, you're great. They have a better team fight later on because they have a better front line.
And then, taking a look at the other side of the coin, MnM, it feels volatile. This composition feels super volatile. Snowball,
they have, the lane matchup mid's pretty good. You know, you can find opportunities with the LeBlanc and the Lissandra. I'm not 100% certain how the Jace into Yorick matchup goes. I think early on you can provide some pressure, but
I assume you bully Yorick to the start of things, and you've got your W, which means you can get out of the thing really quickly.
Not so much, but later on, not the greatest jumping up against a split push, because again, Jace likes to build a flat pen. Yorick is a bit tanky, and then the bot lane. I mean, you have a lot of setup. If you use the Elise and the Morgana, you can find picks, but they have to if they want this to work.
All right, we are about to jump into our game here between Phelan and MnM. Phelan looking good on paper, but can they convert it? Orcs gave it a 65 to 35, and you can see these rosters coming up once more. ADM, he's running with the Lissandra in the mid, Aragon going with the Yorick, Achu bringing that Sivir wave clear bot, and Soft running with the Xin Zhao, great early jungle presence. And then obviously we have seen the MnM roster, but we'll have a look at them again. Mummus, this is the very, very volatile roster coming through. Mummus, Nulti, Chibs, Monk, and Shogun. And they've got a pretty volatile composition to make work here. Again, like you said, it has to be that early win. Has to be that early win and early pressure coming out from MnM if they want to take this victory. And we are onto the Rift.
Yeah, because to put it bluntly, their comp sucks late game. Like, really, really, really sucks. They have no tanks, no front line, no one to soak damage. Their 1-3-1 isn't even that good because the other side has 3 TPs compared to 1. There just isn't much for them to do if it gets late. So they need to be aggressive from the... It's not lost by any means. It just means they have to be aggressive from the start, which is why I think it's so crucial that Nalty has picked a champion like Elise. She is a I want to make things happen pre-6. She has 6 abilities, and most champions only have 3. You want to make things happen.
Unfair.
It's so they have 2 champions with that. Oh. They have the Jace as well.
Oh my goodness, they've got so many more abilities. More abilities equals more wins. Now, Orcs, if you were in Nalty's shoes here, I want to know where on the map he should be going to. Is it a case of just hit that bot lane as hard as you can, get Monk snowballing, and as Monk says, Monk will carry?
I think bot lane's a tricky one because Sivir's hard to gank, Braum's hard to gank. I wouldn't start bot, especially since if you overcommit into Sivir Braum, you might end up dying if the enemy jungler turns up. I think get some control early and then look towards mid and top. Top is a good potential one. If you land CC on a Yorick, you will die. He has no mobility. Mid lane, yes, it's a claw from the Sandra, but crucially, if she thinks she's safe, she'll pop the claw, you stun her with a cocoon, then she's dead. Okay. There's no way of getting out. So I would like to Nalty to look mid and top. And the thing is, once you snowball this LeBlanc or this Jace, they can apply pressure elsewhere.
Wards have come down very early here in this top lane for Aragon, and you see Nalty's going to take that sweeper and clear it out. Actually heading to the blue side jungle, potentially?
I think he's just going to take the
he's just going to go for Scuttler, yeah. I mean, that's a super early rotation to blue from Soph as well. Yeah,
it looks like he's actually going to try and contest. Level 2 against Elise. Lissandra's moving as well. They're actually collapsing here. We're still looking at bot lane, but Nalty could be in trouble.
Soph looking for it, forces the flash out of Nalty, and Nalty gets onto his Krugs on the other side. And that is a good win for Soph.
I mean, that's like worst case scenario for Nalty. He's now chunked out. He has to back off. He loses that Scuttle Crab. We said he has to make things happen early, and he's already had a bad start, only 2.5 minutes in. I'm not calling it over yet, but not a great start. Good moves from Monk and Shogun, though, landing a lot of poke on a Snuggly. And that's crucial, because you do have that range advantage in the bot lane.
Yeah.
But the problem is Morgana doesn't have the best poke. I mean, you kind of rely on landing your bindings if you want to have any poke. But the fact that Shogun is a good sign.
Yeah, it's always good to start off the game getting your eye in on those bindings. And Snuggly is the obvious target because the Chew's just going to get an easy spellbind out of them. So if you can get Snuggly, even when he's got that Unbreakable, he should take a significant amount of damage.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is you want to try and get the poke advantage early because then it makes it too difficult for them to do anything later on. Morgana's not the best at all-ins.
Looks like Nalty's going to be able to respond and get the bot side Scuttle Crab. So it's a Scuttle Crab trade for a Scuttle Crab trade. Nalty a little bit behind in his jungle pathing right now, but I mean, how much impact is that really going to have overall? Is Nalty going to find a way to get early pressure down?
I mean, I think it's actually huge because it doesn't seem like that much. But like I said, Elise is a pre-6 champion. But Monk going aggressive here. Max, the Black Shield's going to come out. Aggressive trading. Monk comes out just ahead there. But not by much. But yeah, I mean, the crucial thing is I said, Elise is a pre-6 champion. You want to make the impact then because at level 6 you don't really get that much stronger. And I think Nalty getting set back early can be to a massive detriment. It's not the end of the world, but it's not great. But what might be the end of the world is look at the difference between these bot lanes.
Oof.
That's a lot of CS. And sure, it's a double range into a melee range. Oh, we are seeing a gank top. Good knock away from Mummus, just unfazed.
A little bit too early there from Soph. I think Aragon not quite on the same page. Also had a... I hate that.
He's walking in the jungle. He's walking in the bush.
Top side brush. I have to be so careful.
Mummus
on the top lane. He's going so low and he goes down. First blood to Xin Zhao. I commentated it off screen, but it did end up happening. Soft. That was a face check from Mummus. Unfortunate.
He made the good play and then he made a mistake by double checking. I'm sure we'll get a replay underway shortly and see what went down there.
Yeah, here we go. They did manage to get a replay of it.
So no wood, and Mummus just overconfident thought, I'll just walk up more of this. Halo Blade's available again.
Oof.
On the flash was actually critically bad because he flashed into the wall and actually stalled his pathing. But Soft just finding the play and, good job to him. This is definitely going to put your top lane in a good position when you pick this split push heavy champion.
Yeah, and I actually feel kind of bad for Nolty at this point in time, because the early first 5-6 minutes of this game, mid lane was pushed pretty heavily in favor of Chibs. There wasn't many opportunities there. Like you said, getting forced to back early really messed up some of his early rotations and early pathing into lanes. And now he's got to find a position in this game where he can reset and look for more opportunities. Because as you said, Elise is a jungler that needs to get in there. She needs to get into those lanes and make ganks happen.
I think crucially the thing I'd be looking for now is there is a flashless Jin Zhao walking about.
Yes.
If you find him going over aggressive, and you land a full combo, he will die, and there's no way he gets away. So that's what I'd want to look for if I was Nolty, who, I'm not sure if that's a spectator bug, but it says his flash is unavailable. So
No, he flashed over the Baron pit in that initial engage, yeah. So he doesn't...
Good, you remind me, yeah, so he doesn't have his flash either, crucially. Completely forgot about that, completely blank. Good thing I've got you here to keep me on my toes.
You know, some things do come with age, but my memory has retained, which is good.
Yeah.
I do want to sort of highlight the only lane that MnM is... I mean, they are ahead in gold, by the way. Let's not stress that it's not like Phelan are running away with this game.
But they have to be.
Yeah, MnM do need to be sort of snowballing this, like you said. That bot lane is definitely a sore point. Great God, I love that from Aragon. Just stops that engage happening.
It's just... It's such an interesting one. The fact that you can't kill it, but until you do, it's like, oh, I'm trapped. But yeah, we are seeing a massive CS advantage bot. There is a considerable one top as well, despite the death from Mummus. Advantages are being taken. And yes, if we get to late game, Phelan will come out ahead. But MnM have a composition of Snowball and a fed LeBlanc, a fed Jace. Those are not champions you want to go with. A fed Lucian as well. Those are not champions you want to let get ahead.
So I've got a small kind of positive to focus on with MnM here, and it was in that bot lane. Monk and Shogun are winning that lane so hard with the pressure that they're generating that the river is completely in control of MnM. You saw that they rotated up to secure that Rift Scuttler. The first dragon is going to be an Infernal Drake. If MnM can capitalize off this bot lane, they might be able to utilize that as their main snowball mechanic here. I think trying to find a way to go for a 4-man dive in the bot lane, or just sort of forcing something around the dragon when you have pressure bot, that could be the out right now for MnM, because every other lane really is not getting off to the start that they would have wanted.
I mean, there are still advantages. I mean, we're still early days. There are still advantages top and mid, but I agree. The advantage bot is significant. Infernal Dragon is the one you want, especially when everyone on your team benefits from it. Like, everyone's going to be building some form of AP or AD, so can't complain too much there. But, again, MnM need to make this happen. You can see Nolty heading towards the bot side, and he will start up that Infernal Dragon thing. He's just going to solo away. Question is, will Soft do anything in return? His Gromp isn't really consolidation.
No, but this is exactly what I wanted to see MnM do. They utilize the fact that actually their bot lane and their mid lane is sort of pushing in consistently. That gives them free pressure over this river area. And Nolty realized that, and I love that from Nolty. Really heads up. He just knew how much pressure his bot side of the map has. And he's using that to gain advantages outside of ganking, which at this point in time seems like a good way to try and get advantages over Phelan, because he's not had that much love when it comes to trying to find opportunities in lane.
Yeah, and crucially as well, next dragon I believe will be another Infernal. And the issue with that is Phelan really don't want to give away double Infernal. Like, I mean, no team ever does, but especially against a comp like MnM's.
It's just high damage, right? You don't give away double Infernal versus high damage.
But the problem is that they don't want to have to be forced to contest this early in the game. They would much rather wait until later on when they are just stronger as champions, but they're kind of forced into it. And so I'm actually looking for this play top, but Nolty is coming.
That's the ultimate from Soft. Here we go. Mummus already burnt. Nolty has realized. As comes Lissandra, they go in. Oh, that's just a dead Jace. And a good play by Phelan now with the Yorick ultimate. They might be able to pressure this turret even with the plating.
It can tank for so long. I mean, the ghouls are tanking as well. They can actually get a lot of these platings down.
They might be able to get the turret. I mean, I don't even know if Nolty's going to be able to defend this.
I think they have to. They have no mana. I think they have to respect him. But still, a lot of plates went down. Mummus misses a lot of farm. It's a good play, and it just came from ADM making the move first ahead of Chibs.
And again, Phelan are the ones taking control and making the proactive moves. Against a lane that you have a range discrepancy in, Aragon has kept that CS relatively even. This has been Soft just being the proactive jungler in the lanes as well. I mean, that early fight around the Rift Scuttler may be one of the most impactful things that we've seen this game, because it really put Nolty on the back foot for a jungler that needed to get a really good head start. I mean, the bot lane's winning itself right now for Monk and Shogun. They don't really need any extra help. They're going to make an early rotation happen, though. Mummus is now going to come towards the bot lane, and they're actually going to send Monk and Shogun up to top. What do you make of this early rotation decision?
I think it's a good decision. They have tempo on this because they did it first, so now Phelan are essentially just reacting to it. So they get a bit of extra advantage from getting to the waves first and shoving them into tower. And it does mean because the Infernal Dragon's off the table, you move your bot lane topside to get control of that Rift Herald. You can see, not only is Monk going to push in and get a plating, but they have complete control of that river area. So a good play when things were looking a bit shaky for MnM. Yeah,
they're actually giving all this plating gold to Monk as well. He actually just picked up 320 gold for free off the back of that double plating take. And for the guy that is now sitting almost 1,000 gold ahead of his opposition, probably the guy that's going to snowball you the most in these mid-game team fights, this is a good place for MnM to find themselves, despite the rest of the map, like I said, not going the way they probably would have wanted it to.
And the thing is, his build is going to feel so much better than Achu's, who you can see from his items, he's going towards that Essence Reaver first, which means you're just going to lack a lot of damage. You have sheer 25% crit, but you don't have the empowered autos from the Infinity Edge, and you have no other crit to back it up or attack speed, whereas that Bladed Rune King coming out instantly from Monk is going to be so strong as a one-item spike. Really, MnM have put themselves in a great position for this mid-game, but again, they have to capitalize off it. If they wait till late, it's going to be too late.
Do we see a rotation back towards the bot from Monk and Shogun because of the Dragon coming up, or do you think they just continue to pressure this top side of the map?
I would make the rotation bot. I mean, I think the argument you can make is that they don't need to. If they keep the attention from Phelan top lane, maybe Naughty can just solo it again. But I personally would be trying to devote all my attention towards that Infernal Dragon. I think with 1 minute 30 to go as well, you want to start establishing control, but right now, Phelan are just starting up this Herald.
Oh, they are going straight for this Herald now. Remember, this is Bladed the Ruin King finished for Monk. That is a bit of a spike. He's not reacting. Actually going to clear out that top wave, wants to get a bit of extra CS.
He's coming in now, but he is split from the team.
Oh, they're going to get the engaged, and immediately Nolty backs off. A really, really good stun coming out onto ADM is going to force the roster from Phelan to actually back away completely as the rotation from Mummus came out too.
And MnM call the bluff. They know that the goal wasn't the Rift Herald. They wanted a team fight. They wanted a snowball from that. But in the end, they managed to get nothing. Great Cocoon coming out from Nolty. But the issue is, Aragon split pushing in that bot lane still. That Conqueror is going to give him a lot of gold.
Yeah, and that's his ultimate. His ultimate, there we go, gets the plating. Only 1.5 minutes left of plating, and Mummus cleans up that ultimate pretty quickly.
I was so scared he just wasn't going to hit the plating and collect that free money.
Ooh, they really don't want Monk to get that final plating. He's going to use the ultimate. It's actually going to force them back as well. Monk should be able to get a couple more autos here and pick up another set of gold for himself.
I mean, this has been the talent story of this bot lane, is that Monk and Shogun just have had consistent pressure advantage. And I mean, yes, in the early levels, the matchup is going to be favored towards the range matchup, but I think this is just a skill discrepancy as well. It feels like from the start, you saw Snuggly eating a lot of bindings. It felt like they didn't have the pressure to walk up. Oh, nice knockback.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice ultimate. Oh, great flash from Mummus. Outplayed straight through the binding coming out from Aragon. Couldn't get him locked inside. And actually now with the back from, I mean, Achu back there, and Monk was able to pick up 2 bindings and potentially even get the turret, as the turret plating due to fall in about 30 seconds.
I think he just gets this. This just shows how much pressure you can get from a winning bot lane, but in return, Phelan gonna look for that Infernal Dragon, and that is huge to equalize the scaling in terms of dragons.
Yeah, that's a really nice pickup for Phelan, like you said. And again, it looks like MnM made the decision, the executive decision, that they wanted to focus top side of the map. And I assume it's because the Rift Herald was an important objective for them.
Yeah, they also get so much gold from taking out that tower. You saw 330 onto the bot lane. As this Lucian is going to be an issue. And yes, Sivir outscales, but that is a long time away. You can't just bank on that. And we've seen time and time again when teams try and invest too heavily in the scaling, they can fall behind. And MnM making the moves to make things happen early on.
Yeah, well, this is finally them making the moves that they needed to for quite some time. And the Rift Herald gives them a battering ram. A battering ram that can open up somewhere on the map if they play this correctly, especially if they play around a Lucian power spike, like they've got now with the Berserker's Greaves. Also picking up the Kindle Gem to give them a little bit of cooldown reduction too.
It gives them extra health as well, bit of safety. But now, Monk is just in such a powerful position. I think you have to concede a fair amount as Phelan. I don't think there's too much you can do aggressively unless you find a numbers advantage, because that was the crux of their play top lane, is that they had the advantage of ADM being there, so they could go for the play, land the CC and make it happen. I think unless you can find that again, you just have to respect MnM for now, because later on, the composition is going to unwind a bit.
And again, that's kind of what we talked about from Champion Select here, that MnM really did rely on keeping that pressure up and keeping it going through the mid-game as well. They don't want to let Sivir get to a point where she's able to clear waves with relative ease. They don't want to let Yorick get to a situation where it's impossible for Mummus to defend against his split push. And MnM, that clock is slowly ticking, second by second, is really things that they could be doing on the map to make sure that they're activating their win condition, which is that ability to get things rolling. And I think off the back of Monk, that's what they have to try and achieve here.
Yeah, I'd like to see something more happen from Chibs. So far, he's not really impacted the map massively. Was there for some team plays, but other than that, not done a massive amount. And I think LeBlanc can be the crux because she has the ability to roam, she has all that mobility. But the big thing I'm watching as well is where does Nolte use this Rift Herald? Could definitely see him head towards bot lane, but that tower might just fall anyway from the attrition of Monk and Shogun.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like it's going to be a way to force the bot lane tower, but you just get the impression that given the way that bot lane matchup has gone for the majority, you don't need it in that situation. I feel like you take this... Oh, wait a second. Here we go. It's going to be the ultimate coming out from Monk. A nice black shield from Shogun keeps him safe in that aggressive push, but the rest of Phelan have rotated their way down towards this bot side of the map. They do get a binding there onto Soft, but not going to come any closer to him as Lissandra waiting in the wings also.
Yeah, Chu going to TP back in. And Monk fairly low on health, crucially does have this lifesteal, but if they go quickly, won't have a chance to heal up.
Soft hanging around is a good way to just exert a bit of pressure on Monk and relieve the tower siege that was taking place on this bottom side of the map. Sol is now going to commit to a tower dive here, but Nolte is waiting in the wings. This is
so much poke on a Monk though, he just has to back off at this point.
Yeah, it's very, very rough for him. He does have that heal in his back pocket. ADM lurking on the sidelines here. MnM are very aware of this rotation though. But I do think that with the poke coming out onto Monk and Shogun, they might not be able to defend this turret.
I think they can just force it. It looks like ADM coming in.
That is a lot of damage on him. He has got to be so careful. ADM goes in, gets the ultimate, slams down onto Monk. And Shogun now as well does manage to back off. Oh, I think
the claw's there?
He misplayed. The Zhonya's is there, but he's going to go down anyway. That was a massive misplay. He wanted to hit the ultimate, but the Lissandra passive slowed him down.
And just crucially, once again, over-aggression for MnM's bot lane, and they're punished. Overconfidence. In return, they will get 2 towers mid, so got to give some consolation there. But this was the big point of MnM, is that this Lucian was so far ahead and Phelan shut the bot lane down.
Aragon forced a flash here. Is safe because the rest of his team is around there. And you mentioned that was a really good reactionary play from MnM, but you felt like, you know, you're sweeping the dust away in terms of not making anything super proactive. You're claiming the jigsaw pieces for a half-finished puzzle here.
Yeah, you already had the Herald. You'd already done that work. It's a good move to make when the enemy commits so many numbers bot, but at the end of the day, Phelan not only did get that tower bot lane and those 2 kills, including a shutdown on the Lucian, but just from split push alone, Aragon got a tower top lane as well. So the gold's still in the favor of Phelan, and again, their composition is going to be stronger in the late game.
Yeah, it was a band-aid for a wound inflicted upon them, as opposed to trying to inflict the wound on Phelan themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's not where you want to be with MnM's composition.
Yeah, you want to be making the proactive plays, and they were caught out. And again, Monk, over-aggressive, over-confident, stepped up way too far, and then got caught out, just not respecting his opponents. And that's exactly what he did last week, so bit of a disappointing thing to see. However, he is still strong.
Chu pops the ultimate here. Monk has to be so careful. The rest of the team were waiting in the wings. It just feels like Monk is desperate to get something done here. He knows that he's in a powerful point in his build, close to that Black Cleaver too. But they are behind in gold now. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Great spell shield, I think, keeps the Chu alive in that situation. The Ocean Drake
off.
Yeah, just give the Ocean Drake up here. Give the Ocean Drake up.
It's not worth dying for. It's not going to change the game that massively. You've already equalized in terms of Infernals. It was a good flank from Chibs. I do agree. I think the spell shield might have been the saving grace. But I think it just seemed a bit overforced Phelan being there anyway. You don't have to take every objective. You have the scaling advantage. Give it a bit of time. Give it a bit of space.
Shogun's going to clear out. I don't think that Phelan have any idea that the dragon is going down because that ward vision was cleared out.
I think they'll let it.
Yeah, I think they just let it go.
They're not too bothered. They let it go. It's an Ocean Dragon. It's not going to exactly change the game. The focus is going to be prolonging things and getting items on that Sivir,
who is actually now not too far behind in CS compared to Monk.
Yeah, only 600 behind in gold. That shutdown they got on Monk crucially swung things back in the favor. Sure, it didn't go to a Chew, but it gave him the position to catch a lot of farm and get back into the game. And the crucial thing is, Sivir is never going to fall behind on farm for long, because that champion, it's impossible not to just pick up waves on. You just ricochet, oh look, here's an extra 60,000 CS.
This is kind of how it works with Sivir. She's now picked up the Essence Reaver, working towards her second item. Double item spike on the Lissandra, along with Mercury Treads too, so really respecting Chibs' damage output.
It'd be interesting to see what Achu goes. I would really like the Phantom Dancer here, just because the extra defensives against 5 damage champions. But I could understand arguments for the items. The Shiv gives good wave clear, the Rapid Fire Cannon, that extended range. I don't think there's bad options. The thing is, I want to see Achu get items as quick as possible, because once he can start investing into defensives, that's when he's going to feel safe against MnM's composition. I
feel like it's stating the obvious here, but MnM are definitely not playing to their win conditions that we kind of outlined in the draft phase. They are really not wanting to be finding themselves 21 minutes into the game, even just 500 gold down.
It is not where you want to be. Yeah,
even in gold is not a situation that you want to find yourself in if you are MnM.
I mean, the crucial thing is Chibs. I mean, you look at ADM, he's 2-0-1, being part of so many kills. Chibs is, aside from that good play, hasn't really done anything in it. Chu actually going to find Nulti here. Fail Flash comes out.
Has to be so careful here. Nulti should go down to the end to Achu, and Achu just caught out Nulti looking for a gank. It was an obvious gank position for Eragon. The tower was super low, and it was Mummus pushing that wave in.
It was a great play from Achu. You just don't expect him there, but Mummus going to get caught out as well. ADM here.
He's just dead.
And this is what happens. You feel so pressured to make plays from the point of view from MnM. You feel forced into it and feeling they're waiting and expecting it. You want to try and make a play bot lane, Achu's waiting. And then he takes out Mummus as well.
Monk's still doing a lot of damage. It's a big item spike for him now, picking up the Black Cleaver too. ADM just trying to back off, but this is Eragon in the side lane. Huge damage with his ultimate now coming onto these towers.
Tower is Eragon. Bringing it back.
We haven't heard that one enough as he picks up that tier 2 in the bot lane. And that is exactly what Yorick can do well.
Yeah, and I really like the build from Achu as well, going for that Phantom Dancer. The threat for Achu, I mean, you don't even need to team fight, essentially. You just need to not die. If you just wave clear, that Yorick's going to do a lot of work, and as long as you stall out till later on, you're in a great position. They're now 2,000 gold ahead. This is not looking good for MnM. Under normal circumstances, with different compositions, I'd say they can bring it back. But it's looking dicey with this comp. They really need to find a good pick soon, or Phelan will just start to take control.
The Jace pick hasn't worked out for MnM. They weren't able to put pressure on that Yorick lane. And again, maybe we look back to that initial fight at level 2 between the two junglers and we say, wait a second, that might have influenced this game to a huge margin.
I got to credit the draft as well, though. I think Phelan went in with a very confident strategy to facilitate this Yorick pick, and they kind of drafted MnM into a corner, and I think the picks they made worked for them. And the thing is, I wouldn't even say that Phelan have necessarily played better in every situation, because MnM's bot lane came out swinging, but Phelan have made the proactive plays. They've played better as a team, and that has put them into such a great position.
Yeah, we are now at 2 items on Sivir as well. You know, with that Phantom Dancer, like you correctly said, was a solid pickup for the Sivir in this situation.
Just makes it harder to kill it.
Exactly.
Already a hard AD carry to kill on top of that, with the spell shield, and only going to get more difficult as the game goes on. I mean, who is the answer for the Sivir?
Monk is a little bit ahead in items. That's the only saving grace I can see. It's a cheaper item build overall for Monk, so you can hit your item spikes much more quickly. But I feel like if anyone in this situation is going to do well, it's got to be Monk. There's very little armor that he's facing up against. He can shred through those base armors with the Black Cleaver, and he is the guy that I think is likely in these teamfight situations to be the one to pop off.
Yeah, they still have hope now. They still have life. They can win out by just finding the right damage on the people. Ult comes out early. Kind of expected that Winter's Bite to land from Snuggly. And now expecting the concern is, though, Shogun has the Black Shield. I don't think you're going to find an engage there. But at the end of the day, Phelan don't really lose anything from going for that.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Phelan aren't the ones that need to take the towers, right? If they can get a tower or they can get a pick, that's great for them, but they don't mind if they don't.
Yeah.
Whereas MnM, that is the kind of thing that they need to do, and you can see now with the Mountain Drake spawning could be the Drake equalization for Phelan right now. They've got a very strong team fight at this point in time.
I'd much rather have the mountain than an ocean.
Yeah.
Soft's just going to be able to solo away, and I don't think too much contention is going to come out from MnM. They will get control of the Baron area. They might be able to take that down that top turret because ADM moved over to help facilitate that. But crucially, the Mountain Dragon is a big one for securing these objectives. I'd argue a Mountain and an Infernal is the best 2 dragons to have, just because of how much they offer you on that first one. The time they take objectives in will be reduced massively. And I think when you look at MnM's comp, who have 5 squishy champions, they are never going to want to stop Baron. Ever. I don't think there's ever a point, unless the entire enemy team is dead, where MnM go, let's start Baron here.
I mean, it's a free fight for Lissandra and Sivir in that situation.
And it's just the fact that no one can soak the damage.
Yeah.
Baron will murder everyone, and by the time the fight starts, undoubtedly someone's going to be half HP or lower. So I think Phelan picking up that objective really helps a lot, especially since, even though MnM don't want to start it, the damage is very fast. So a sneak could be possible, but not so much when they don't get that.
Monk going in, that's a lot of damage onto a Chu there as ADM searches, flashes in, doesn't quite get the ultimate. That's a nice stun. Can he get the binding? On the other side of the map though, Mummus getting soloed by Eragon. Eragon is not done with him. He's looking to slam down. And he gets the dunk. The rest of the team fight, however, just peters out in the mid lane.
This is what the entire draft came down to. This is why they first picked that Yorick. They put it in a situation where Mummus didn't have a good counter pick, and now it is dominating the side lane. Eragon, who coming into this tournament, I was concerned about this player. Coming into the UKLC, I wasn't sure if he was up to standard for the rest of the roster, but he has proven me absolutely wrong.
Nulty shows himself on the bottom side of the map. This could be a risky play for Phelan. I don't think they don't want to commit to it. They're not committing to this situation.
They make a smart decision. Clearly they watched the Barrage game where they went for the 50-50 Baron and threw away a 1 game, but here Phelan won't make that mistake. They know there's no pressure. The longer this game goes, the better their chances get. And it looks like my 65-35 prediction was either drastically wrong or the 35 has become real.
Well, yeah, but we didn't see the draft. When I might ask you to make that prediction. I think just on the outset of the draft, you'd say that Phelan won that situation.
I think they had a better draft. I don't think it was over for MnM. I still don't think it's over.
No, not at all.
But I just think it's really starting to get difficult here. There needs to be some big plays. Monk is on those 3 items. He needs to carry. The question is, will he?
He's got the rapid fire cannon now. That's going to give him a slightly extended range and maybe some crucial parts of a team fight. Again, I've still yet to see Chibs join a teamfight situation and go in on a target with Monk, and that's been because MnM are committing to a 1-3-1. They're not looking to force, they're not looking to group and try and shove and poke with the Jace. They're committing to a 1-3-1, which I actually just think plays directly into Phelan's win conditions.
Phelan have 3 TPs compared to 1 TP.
Yeah.
Yorick wins split push really hard now. ADM can just safely clear on a tower if he needs to, but even then I don't think he needs to be on the tower. It just buys time for Phelan, who are already ahead and already wanting time themselves. And the thing is, there's no answer to this Yorick right now. Again, with the Infernal giving him extra damage, he's now got some good resistances, well, mostly HP, and that Mountain Dragon. He just hammers turrets. I wouldn't like to be playing Jace here if I was Mummus.
I feel like if I was Mummus and if I was MnM, I would have given up on trying to answer Yorick a long time ago and just said, right, we need to just go and force something. Like, go to a turret, start spamming Jace Qs. Monk going in again. There's the Black Shield. Incoming ultimate from a Chu. Lots of damage, forces the Redemption out. Monk's going to get some HP back. In the meantime, Mummus getting chased away by Eragon again.
It's so frustrating when all the ghouls leap on you. It's not fun to play. He has gone towards some lifesteal now, so he should be able to fend him off a bit better under tower. But you can see Mummus is constantly hanging around that mid lane area. He wants to be there for a play. Monk is trying to make things happen by going aggressive, but so hard to find.
That's why I feel bad for Monk. You can see he's trying. He's trying to find a situation where he can open up a team fight, maybe give them the Baron, which MnM so sorely need to get themselves in a situation where they can even push a lane. And he's just not being backed up by his team, or his team are not agreeing with the situations that he's looking to fight in. And Monk can't do this by himself. There needs to be some kind of collaboration between the damage dealers on MnM right now, and Chibs is so... I mean, what is Chibs even doing in that side lane? Like, what is he getting done?
Nothing. He's just pushing waves. He's got the Rabadons now, but he's still 0-0-0 as this LeBlanc. I mean, if we look at damage dealt after this game, there was that one combo around the Dragon Pit.
Onto the Sivir, yeah.
That's it. And you now see the Sivir has the Infinity Edge. This is the trio, the core items you want as a Sivir. 75% crit chance on this patch, a whopping ton of AD, very dangerous to deal with. I wouldn't want to go up against Civ at this point.
I think at this point, I'm going to call it, Phelan have probably won. From this point here, I think it's so difficult to see a situation where MnM come back.
But let's play devil's advocate.
Okay, I like devil's advocate.
They have to look for Phelan to throw. The Baron is always a dicey objective, okay? Yes, they are better at doing it than MnM, but if they overcommit to it, they shouldn't even focus on the Baron for MnM. They should just focus on looking for the kills, because if Phelan start to tank it, and then LeBlanc is coming over the wall, Mummus fires a shock blast, that's where they find an avenue into this game.
Sure, it looks like it's going to be another free dragon for MnM. Lots of pressure from Phelan around this Baron pit, and again, it is a point for them to throw. Like he said, it is a situation where...
We do love Baron throws in the UK.
Yeah, we love Baron throws in the UK. Baron throws and pauses are our speciality.
Baron throws, pauses, cups of tea, scones. I think that's our standard in the UK. Both teams posture in the mid. I feel Achu's just gotten so much more confident. Now he has a Phantom Dancer, has that triple core item, he's willing to step up, and Monk's been going aggressive before. I'm not sure he's given that same luxury again to do plays like that without getting punished.
No, he has got a BF sword though, so the flat damage that Monk can put out in these situations is pretty good. You do have to respect that.
But if Achu just crits 3 times in a row?
Oh, Chibs onto ADM here. That's a lot of damage, but doesn't quite manage to land it all because Snuggly gets a really good Unbreakable. Monk uses the ultimate, clears out a little bit of the wave, and you can just feel the tensions between these two teams. Aragon's going in onto Mummus, who is so low, and forced back again.
Having to go the Bladed Rune King purely for the matchup. The sustain and then able to cut through that Yorick's health, but it's not what you want to build as a Jace. This is going, oh,
Achu going in. There's the Unbreakable once more. Monk forced back away. They're trying to buy time for Aragon on this top side, or this bottom side of the map even, as he pushes another wave into Jace. This is tense. Really tense between these two teams. And you still feel, despite only 1,000 gold between the two teams, and really at the situation where you feel Phelan should be stronger, MnM and especially Monk are an ever-looming threat that you need to respect.
I mean, they still have control of the Baron area right now. I mean, yes, Phelan had it for a while when MnM took that Mountain Drake, but MnM reclaimed control, and that's because of the threat. You don't want to walk into an Elise or a LeBlanc because there is very real threat that you'll just get one shot. But the problem is, yes, MnM have control, but they don't want to start the Baron because if Phelan turn up, they will die. They will lose horribly.
They will murder every single one of them because the Lissandra and the Sivir love it. But this is a sneaky Baron play.
They're looking for the duo. They can get this. There's no vision.
That's really good from MnM. This is exactly the kind of play they needed to give themselves a platform to eventually get a win here. There is no reaction from Phelan whatsoever.
Yeah, they're just completely caught unawares, and they'll get the Baron. And this really should not be happening at the state of the game where it is right now. Phelan gave way too much over to MnM.
This is really good for MnM because not only is that going to stop Phelan from getting it, and that's going to cut that Yorick split push down as well by not having the Baron. You can now push in the mid lane with Monk and Shogun. That is not going to be easy for the or not as easy for the Sivir to clear through those waves, having that Baron empowered minions.
Especially as crucially, Monk just picked up an Infinity Edge, so I think he's edged ahead of the curve on the Sivir.
This is Monk. This has to be a Monk will carry moment for MnM. This has to be a Monk will carry moment because I don't see any other way that MnM convert this into a win other than the fact you've got a bloody strong AD carry on your team who's doing insane damage and now can push down the mid lane with those Baron minions.
Yeah, it looks like Phelan might be looking for a cheese play onto Mummus. They are waiting in the Death Brush.
Is this the play? I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I don't think MnM are too worried. I mean, it makes sense because that bot tower is sticking out like a sore thumb, but I don't know, you could be waiting there a while. They're probably just going to push up mid.
This is a situation now where
it is a situation, I agree.
This is a situation, but Phelan really should be the ones in the driving seat. I think when you're in 35 minutes into the game, you're almost 4 items on Sivir. You'd feel that Phelan should be in the driving seat, but I still have this looming Monk feeling on my head that this guy, who is like insanely farmed, he's got 4 items finished on his Lucian, he can still work these team fights to his advantage, and that's especially with the Baron now pushing in this mid lane. Phelan don't look as confident.
I mean, I wouldn't. If they've taken the Baron, you've got to start doubting yourselves. They were already questioning things when they gave up so much pressure to MnM. The fact that Baron could happen is a big question mark. And now they have to deal with the consequences. Monk pumping out a lot of damage, even between the wave.
I finally realized why they might have committed Chibs to the side lane here. I think they've realized they've reached the point in the game where team fighting is just not possible for them. Like a full-on 5v5 team fight, they just strictly lose, right?
Yeah,
so I think they're saying, okay, we've got 1v1 with a LeBlanc, who's good in a 1v1, and now Jace pushing back against Eragon with this big Baron at minion wave. This is the power play for MnM. They're starting to push into this base.
Yeah, I mean, they have the Baron, it's giving them control. Phelan want to force a team fight, but it's difficult. The Black Shield from Morgana is going to sway things from happening mid. And I think the LeBlanc and the Jace are playing too safe at the moment.
That's a huge amount of damage onto Snuggly. Oh, Monk! Oh, he's absolutely down! He's obliterated! And here goes the rest of Phelan. Achu absolutely deletes Monk, but at what cost? Because Mummus is now pushing into this inhibitor. We've already lost an inhibitor to Chibs on the side lane as Eragon pushes in, tries to lock him down, and that's a flash from Mummus to get the second inhibitor. That's the bottom, and the top one's gone down now. Teleport's coming through. Teleports, wait a second. Teleport's coming through from Achu. They're going to try and push down this mid lane.
I don't think they are. I think they're going for the Elder Dragon. That is what they're looking for. It is spawned. You have to watch out for Chibs, but they managed to take out a lot of MnM. Yes, they got the bottom top inhibitor, but they lost all their members, and now that Baron is pretty much off the table. They're going to have to deal with this Elder Dragon Phelan squad.
That was some overconfidence you feel from Monk's positioning once more. Actually neglecting to go for anything like a QSS, going to rely on Shogun's Black Shield and the Mikhails is probably enough for the two of them to get through the CC that Phelan have got.
The problem is you're just so short range, and like if you throw autos into like Xin Zhao and the Braum, it's not going to make that much impact.
Yeah.
But anyone Achu hits, he will cut through them. And if he hits someone near you, the ricochet will kill you too. He's at 100% crit now. He has that rapid fire cannon for the extra range. It is so hard for anyone to eat an auto from the Sivir, whereas on the other side, a few autos can be soaked by Eragon. Soph has the GA, so he's not too bothered. ADM has the Zhonya's and his self-ult. And the Braum with the Unbreakable, there's so much more to soak damage on Phelan.
Look at the ricochet damage onto Monk and Shogun.
It's so strong.
That was just one ricochet dealing a third of their HP here. You know that this is going to be a rough situation in the mid lane now.
This is the Sivir late game fantasy. It has been hit by Achu, and he is now in control.
This is definitely gearing up, you feel, towards the end of the game, one way or the other. I feel maybe opening up the side lanes for MnM, but I mean, the true...
Look at Chibs, you can't handle Eragon. This Yorick has proved wonders throughout the game.
Forcing the redemption early on.
Yeah, the push is coming in from Phelan. I'm not sure there's a ton that MnM can do. Black Shield burn as well, so Monk's going to have to back off after this.
They dodge out the ultimate from Monk, who's trying to deal a lot of damage here. Eragon in the side lane, however, dealing with both of them.
And
they
Monk
get onto
is
Monk!
down!
Monk is down! Overconfidence again as the Lissandra ultimate popped on top of him. And 0-3-0, we talked a lot about how he was the man, and realistically, he had been through this entire game, likely the highest damage dealer on the side of MnM, but his overconfidence in positioning time and time again.
The Black Shield was down. There was no reason to be that far forwards, and now Phelan looking for the push. Chibs goes in, but he's going to die.
That is some insane damage from the Sivir. They're going to chunk through these waves. They have an inhibitor to go for. And Phelan upset the apple cart in a lot of people's minds here as they push for the win. Nothing that MnM can do versus a late game Sivir. Nulti now forced to use that stopwatch. He's going to go down, or even the Zhonya's, and he'll eventually go down. Nothing that Mummus can do on the sidelines either as they get that final Nexus turret. Phelan take the win against MnM.
Absolutely, and just a great game. I'd have to say my personal MVP for the game is the coach, because that draft literally put him in...
Can we MVP the coach?
I'm going to.
I want
my MVP, my personal MVP, not the official MVP, but it's just a draft from the start. It was aggressive. They came in with these top lane bans and went, yeah, we're going to first pick Yorick. The MVP for the game overall was ADM, though. Made some solid plays on that Lissandra. But what a game from Phelan. I didn't expect this.
I think ADM is a good substitute MVP for the coach. He had great roaming plays. He made Chibs look static. He made Chibs look uninterested in the game as he just rotated beyond team fights.
I mean, what did Chibs do?
Nothing.
I mean, we said this LeBlanc may well be the crux. You know, you want to get pressure mid and rotate, and Chibs essentially played Farming Simulator 2019.
I think he lost his opportunity. I think MnM lost their opportunity in general.
I think they lost the game.
Well, yes, but they lost their opportunity in the early game in general, and Chibs probably wasn't reacting to ADM early enough. And you got to the point in the game, 2.5 items on Sivir with a Lissandra, and I think MnM made the executive decision to say, we have to match them in the 1-3-1 because if we team fight, we lose. I don't necessarily think that was the case because I think Monk was so strong. I mean, even going 0-3-0, he unquestionably was the strongest member of their team through the entire game. I think there was the potential for Monk to to win these team fights, even when it looked like MnM were trying to actively avoid them.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, I think MnM drafted themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
Things went a bit shaky in the early game, and as soon as that happened, it felt like the game slipped out of control. Even with that Baron sneak, which showed they're a strong team, they know what to do. It just felt like they didn't have any options as the game got later.
Right, we are going to jump to a short break, but when we're back, we'll have our final game of the day, Fnatic taking on Enclave.